What's up, y'all? This is your boy eBay Predictions. This is a little different video than I guess you're kind of used to seeing on this channel. I've done a Bellator recaps before. I've never done a Bellator prediction show. I just you know, haven't found that interest yet. But and I've been kind of slacking on watching Bellator. Last Bellator show I think was the Ryan Bader Nemkov card, and that was the last one. But this one right here, I've been super hyped up about it. I'm gonna give you my main event prediction for Bellator 250. I will show you my picks. I think at the end of the show, or the end of this whatever it's called. I guess this prediction video, who I'm going with. But yeah, let's get straight to it. Douglas Lima versus Gegard Mousasi. Man, I love this freaking fight, man. It's just it's a really interesting situation. Gegard's obviously, he had the title fight against Rafael Lovato Jr., lost it. Then he had a bounce back fight against Lyoto Machida, and he's been looking pretty good, man. I think in terms of what he's been able to accomplish right now, it's been all right. And not only just in the company, but in all over in MMA. But I understand some of the criticisms that Gegard got. A lot of people thought he lost. I don't think no one thought he lost. I thought he didn't do as good as he needed to against Machida, and I think that's just, I don't want to say it's a matchup thing. He did lose to Machida the first time in the UFC in a 5 round fight, so it's just one of those things. Is I'm not surprised, you know. By it, but I thought, and it was a really close fight. It went down to the wire, y'all. So it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it was kind of, it was a little suspect. Um, but yeah, I think he's bounced back pretty decently. But but let's talk about Douglas Lima. This guy, man, he has been on a tear. Beating Roy McDonald in the rematch, KOing Michael Venom Page, and even before losing that really close fight to Roy McDonald, he has wins over Lorenz Larkin, Paul Daly, some really good guys. Even I know this doesn't matter now, and he's, I guess, a bit of a joke, but murdered Ben Saunders in a great KO. You guys should watch that. I think it was on Bellator's like 20 most watched or crazy fights or whatever. Man, so this guy's, he's this a stable division of um of Bellator, and is just I feel like has represented this place really well. And I mean, he really showed his championship medal against Roy McDonald in that second fight. I was, I picked a Roy to win that based on the fact that Roy, won it the first time, and I thought, he was going to be able to use his wrestling. But the first fight was super close, so I should have kind of known. But man, he showed his championship medal there. But so these guys are super high level, but Gegard has enough experience um, with guys that are coming up from welterweight trying to fight him. Man, he fought Roy McDonald, and it wasn't competitive at all. He dismantled him. I understand people, they have their opinions on Roy McDonald. Is he degraded? Is he that? Or is he this? I don't know. I don't really look at it like that. It's, if you lose, you lose. It's still a win, to me. So, but I will say one thing, is that, you know, I thought I was more impressed with Gegard's performance against Roy, because Roy was coming off a win, and he looked really good. And even what Douglas Lima did to Roy was phenomenal. But yeah, but let's actually talk about where these guys really match up against each other. I really do honestly think that Gegard, has the experience to deal with a guy like Douglas Lima, man. Even in the, not only just in the grappling, but in the kickboxing and everywhere it needs to be. I feel like because he's from, that Dutch kickboxing, and he's been around that. I think he'll be ready for it. The guy has literally 46 wins, 7 losses, man, like a crazy record. And Douglas Lima has 32 wins and 7 losses, like another great record. But I just feel like, he's 35, so he's right there, like right at the end of his prime. But when you're at that 35 age, I feel like that those can be your downfall years, or those can be your best years, because it's based on what your prime is dependent on, if it's your athleticism, right? But Gegard's always been a guy that's dependent on his skill, right? And I feel like when you're in that, you're more of a skill based fighter. You can go a little longer. When you're at 35, I feel like your physical abilities, your attributes, like all your physical attributes, are still there, but your fight IQ is an all-time high based on the experience you've been through. So I think that's where Gegard's gonna really take over this fight. I think I think he'll be ready for him in the stand-up, right? And I think he'll be able. He has the IQ to deal with him, and I think he'll be able to. I think he'll take over in the grappling. He'll go for, he'll choose his takedowns and it'll take him out that way. But just like Gegard's just one of these guys, and I was kind of praying Leon Edwards doesn't end up like this, but he's one of these guys in the UFC that I never understood, never got the push, man. Like, if you look at what he did in the UFC, beating Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall in the rematch, Vitor Belfort. I understand Vitor, at the time he was off the TRT, but he beat Thiago Santos, killed Thiago Santos in the first round, with a crazy uppercut, man. Beat Dan Henderson. He obviously lost Jacare Souza, but does have a win over Jacare Souza. Beat Alir Latifi, another good guy, has a win over OSP. Beat Mark Hunt, man. Like, this guy is a legitimate guy, man. Like, I mean, when I talk about elite middleweight, and I would love for him to fight Israel Adesanya and dethrone him and get rid of him, but I don't think he's ever gonna get there. But man, Gegard's just a matchup guy, and if you give him the right matchup, I think he does well. If you give him someone a little different, someone he just can't, that might overwhelm him with his, because he's a skill guy, and sometimes you see with a lot of these skill guys, they get overwhelmed by some guys that have good skill, but are really physically imposing with just those crazy physical attributes of athleticism, pace, and a lot of those things, right? And strength, obviously, that comes into fact. And that's where he's kind of got overwhelmed. But I just honestly feel like, Gegard, and obviously he does accuse Jacare and Machida of juicing. So, it is what it is. And he's, I guess you could say, after USADA, he did his thing. But I honestly do think, man, Gegard, he's just a phenomenal fighter. And I think he gets this done by decision. In terms of the whole card, and Lima can win this fight. He really can. Like, I don't want to disrespect Lima. Let me say that. I think there's a lot of places where he can win this fight with those brutal leg kicks, man. He has the power. He's strong. He's 32. He's young, right? So I think he can win this fight. I think in a lot of areas. He doesn't. Gegard does have the reach advantage too. That's also another thing. I think Gegard can, put him back with his jab. But Lima's always been a guy that likes to go forward, pressure, all that. So I don't think that really matters. But Lima, I think he needs to knock out Gegard, and that's kind of hard to do, man. Like, Gegard's been caught by guys like Uriah Hall, right? But and I don't want to say that was a little fluky, but he got caught, and that's what. And you saw what happened to Uriah in the second fight. So, like, I think that's enough said. But yeah, I'm going Gegard by decision. But in terms of confident picks on the card, Adam Baraks, I think that kid is a problem. Nick Newell, I think he's gonna win his fight. So those two guys, I'm pretty confident in to win the fight. But yeah, great show from Bellator. I'm gonna do a recap of it. Probably on all right after the show on Thursday. Hope you guys watch it. I think this is an awesome show to watch. And yeah, that's it for me. Go follow my Twitter, my Instagram, all that greatness, and see y'all, and goodbye.